the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going, fam? I really do pray you're well in all your ways and that you are living your best life. Thanks to every single person that has migrated with us here to Dr. Mumbi Live. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here, and don't forget to also subscribe to the Dr. Mumbi Show and hit that notification button. Now, so much is happening. I definitely feel like this has been some kind of wake up call to time is of the essence and what we need to do. And I just really encourage you. There is such a global control of the narrative, and the narrative is not necessarily the truth, but the narrative creates the future. And that's why for the last 3 years on this platform, I've been urging you that Africa needs to have its own narrative, because now we've seen the danger of being in someone else's story. And they get COVID, we get COVID. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, we're trapped in this matrix that we shouldn't be. But those are stories for other days. Now, this story is just so annoying. But in the wake of South Africa canceling about 10,000 Chinese visas and revoking some, and about 300 Iranian ones as well, a China man has been arrested for allegedly locking up his staff, his black staff, 14 members of his black staff in a factory. Now, this Chinese businessman locked up 14 local workers at his Durban factory for a week and forced them to manufacture hundreds of masks to meet the COVID-19 demand. And he was arrested after police raided his premises. And basically, what happened is there were hundreds of complaints. I think like over 200 complaints that were received by the Consumer Protection Unit. Some people were complaining about how all of a sudden masks were being sold at like 4, 5, 6 times the government price. It's like people wanted to exploit the situation. Others talked about how they had seen these 14 staff in this factory, and they seemed to be not observing social distancing, etc., etc. We're in such a George Orwell 1984 world where your neighbor snitches on you. But in this kind of reality, the snitching is good. But what happened is that, so when the police raided the premises, get this, he had security men who were Chinese. I'm telling you. Anyway, I'll talk about the triad after this. He had his bodyguard, who was a Chinese national, who actually dared to, I can't even believe he did this. He pulled out his automatic weapon on police and the government officials and demanded they leave the premises. Now, he was also arrested, and are being told that they're going to actually check if he even has a license to hold a weapon, an automatic rifle, etc., etc. And the businessman could not produce the necessary essential services permit to operate during the lockdown. Police are also, looking into, he was operating illegally, etc., etc. But the unfortunate thing is, he went to court like 2 days later, and he was released on bail for 20,000 rand, which is about $1,000, and he will actually reappear in court in June. How do we know that he won't be released or whatever? Because get this, the Chinese, I swear, these guys, the Chinese embassy in Durban actually released a statement where they said that they were shocked at at the fact that this man had been arrested, and they said he was working very hard to help the people of KwaZulu Natal in fighting against the virus. And the embassy actually released a statement where they said, the factory located in Glen Anil, Durban, was specially set up to help KwaZulu Natal people fighting against the virus last week. And, we're shocked that our national was arrested when all he was trying to do was help. This is how they treat their people as well. So when you're shocked, they're like, huh? But they're the bottom of the pyramid. That's how they're thinking. This is so crazy. And actually, the Minister of Economic Development, Tourism, and Environmental Affairs, a lady called Dubin Kube, she's the one who released this statement, and she said, no amount of words could ever describe my anger following a shocking report I received from officials assigned to, to investigate this complaint. The factory is like a warehouse. She alleges that it has machines on one side, and on the other side are cubicles, the men on one side, the women on the other side, and they've been living in terrible, very degrading conditions. Apparently, they were only getting less than 2 hours of sleep a night. They were being forced to work around the clock. And, when security arrived, they were confronted by these Chinamen. And you know what? Let me tell you. There's someone who once told me, before the government came, the triad came. And if you don't know who the triad came, then you haven't seen enough kung fu movies. But seriously, Chinese mafia is very well penetrated in Africa. Because how does someone have a gun? How does someone even have their own Chinese security? What kind of madness is this? And this is something that was exposed. You know, Imagine all the atrocities that are going on under these Chinese businessmen doing business in Africa, and they're escaping from poverty. Some may even be escaping from prison to come and get a better life in Africa. And they see us as rats, like down bad, like the worst of the worst. This is just sad. What's even more depressing is that the Chinese embassy didn't even get it. Anyway, we're going to be following up this story. Go ahead and leave your comments below, fam. Definitely consider joining our Patreon family, where we posted that explosive video that was taken off YouTube. And we actually got a part two, where the Mzungu lady goes on to just, spit some knowledge. And as I said, sometimes it takes someone who doesn't look like us to convince those of us who still suffer from a white savior complex. But those are stories.